All right, so you've heard that you have to have a website to get started as a dietitian when you want to make money or start your private practice. And in today's video, I'm going to break that down for you. So the first question is, do dietitians need a website? And the answer is absolutely. Yes, we definitely need a website, but it's a little more complicated than, yes, we just need one. The answer would be when. When does a dietitian need to invest the time and energy and resources, like money, into a website? Let's first talk about the first steps you need to do if you're starting a business like a dietitian private practice business or anything related. Perhaps it's consulting or any type of work on the side. The first thing you need to do to set up is actually have a way to take payment. So you could set yourself up with an invoicing or billing kind of a strategy or system. That might look like setting up an EMR and linking your payment, or that could be setting up a learning platform like Teachable and linking a payment system. Or it could just mean that you sign up with something like PayPal and then you're able to create invoices. PayPal, Stripe, Square, there are so many different options, but you need to have a way to collect payment from people. That's actually the most important thing you need to do in your business if you're just getting started. Then you need to define the legal structure, which you should do before the payment because they all go together. So you need to make sure that you're clear with what type of legal structure, LLC, sole proprietorship, and then you can look at your government, your state website, and you can inquire on the steps you need to take to set up a business. There are also some services such as LegalZoom that will set it up for you if you're the type of person that has the funds and the ability to have somebody help you out with setting up a legal structure. You can also talk to a lawyer, but it is easier than it sounds to set up a business entity, but you will need to do that when you're getting started. Again, the question of when can depend on the person. Now, if you're taking insurance, you have to set up a legal structure to even apply to be on insurance panels. If you're doing cash pay, you can wait a little longer, for example, until somebody's ready to pay you. That's a personal decision, but I will say, to be compliant on my end, that you will need to set up an entity, and the decision of when is up to you. You also need a contract. You have to protect yourself. And so that contract is a legal document that safeguards both you and the client. It's got to be fair for both people. So having that set up in addition to your payment system is a great way for you to be ready to start taking clients. Those are the essential things you need if you want to get started in business, right? A website is important, but it comes after the things I'm listing. Legal structure set up, payment or system, and then of course you having the way to have a contract set up based on the service that you're offering, and that's pretty much if you're doing one-on-one or any kind of group thing. Well, I want to talk for a moment about EMRs, which I'm a huge fan of. EMRs are optional, but you don't have to have an EMR to get set up. I do recommend them because I think that using an EMR is not only professional, but it's a great way to start getting used to using technology. And if you think about it, if you're a clinical dietitian, or if you can remember your internship, because we all completed our rotations at least, you had to probably use some type of electronic system. I know I used Allscripts. If anybody used Allscripts, comment below if you can relate. And paper charting has long been, it's not really done anymore. At least they stopped doing paper charting in most facilities a long time ago. So you probably have had experience with using some type of electronic medical records system in your teachings to become a dietitian. So starting to use one again on your own and setting it up, which can be simple. If you're just setting it up in the basic level, it's not too complex. That's a great way for you to start systematizing your dietitian business. I highly do recommend that because I think it takes away the stress and it adds a level of professionalism. So just to note, EMRs, electronic medical record systems, they're free until you have your first, let's say, few clients. So you don't have to pay for that expense until you start having people paying you, or you've got more than 3 people in your system. So that's a nice way for you to get started without having to invest more monies on the front end. You can also use EatLove, which I'm a fan of, and I use that myself. And the benefit of EatLove is that they tout themselves as being a replacement for an EMR or a supplement. And I think that's pretty cool because it's a nutrition analysis software, and there's a lot of uses for it, including for educators, clinical dietitians, to optimize how you're able to provide service to your clients. And so if you want to use EatLove, or you want to use an EMR, or you want to use both, I would start with maybe one just to get comfortable. That's a great way for you to start systematizing your private practice or your consulting business from the beginning. If you do have a website, I suggest keeping it really simple, something like a one-page website. But if you're using an EMR, you'll get a scheduling page for someone to schedule that consult with you, that initial consult, and that can actually serve as a web page. It's not a website, but it is something on the internet that has your name on it, and that's better than nothing. The same goes for health profs or having any kind of taking up any space on the internet. So as long as you're able to show up on the internet, people can search you and you're able to pop up, that is a good way for you to start building your presence without building out an actual full website. I'm a huge fan of using a landing page. Now, if you've got an email service provider, then you have the ability to create landing pages through your email service provider, like MailChimp or ConvertKit. ConvertKit is paid. MailChimp, under a certain amount of subscribers, is free. So if you create a landing page from your email service provider, you can use that as well as a web page. Additionally, you can use a sales page from a learning management system such as Teachable, and that can serve as a web page until you decide to build out a full website. So I suggest taking those small steps and focusing more on the other aspects: legal structure, billing, payment system setup, contract. Focus on those aspects before you worry about building out a full-on or website. I suggest using a landing page or a simple web page before you build out a full website, because it does take time and energy and resources for you to build that out. Website builders are a great option, and website builders like Kajabi make it really easy for you to build out a professional and beautiful website. Another example that I'm very impressed with is Simple Practice. They recently came out with an option for you to build out a website using their service. Now, of course, there's a fee at the time of recording this. It's $60-something a month to be able to use that platform with the existing web page builder. But if you're starting out and you do really want something more than a landing page, that's a pretty good place to start. And I think that that is going to be the norm when it comes to using any kind of technology platforms like EMRs. My theory is that they're all going to start having website builders and all-in-one features, because there's a demand for that from clinicians to have everything wrapped up into one. Now, until that happens, if you want to use a HIPAA-compliant platform like an EMR, you're going to have it separate for a web page, unless if you're using, let's say, Practice Better, and you're using one of their programs, and you can use that existing web page, not website, for your marketing efforts. Now, if you're interested about starting your dietitian private practice because you haven't done so yet, I want you to watch this video linked on the screen next.